Eli Granger had never been one for change. He liked his small house, his quiet street, and the routine of everyday life. But this week, things were different. A new tenant was moving into the house right next to his. Eli watched from his porch as a large truck pulled up, its back doors swinging open to reveal strange crates and glowing machines. Curiosity got the better of him. He wiped his hands on his jeans and walked over to the fence that separated their yards. From behind the truck, a figure stepped out, tall and graceful with smooth skin that shimmered slightly in the sunlight. Her eyes were large and deep, almost like pools of liquid silver. She wore a long cloak that covered most of her body, and around her neck was a device that softly buzzed and glowed. Eli cleared his throat. "Hi there. I'm Eli, your neighbor. If you need any help with the move, just let me know." The figure turned her head slowly toward him. Her eyes widened slightly and she gave a small nod. "Greetings, Eli. I am Thesia." Her voice was calm but had a musical tone like a song. "Thank you for your kindness." Eli smiled. "Welcome to the neighborhood. It's a nice place to live." Thesia paused for a moment, then replied, "I hope to learn much here." For the next few days, Eli watched as Thesia unpacked her belongings. Her technology was unlike anything he had ever seen. Small hovering spheres floated around. The house and strange lights blinked from the crates. Every now and then, she would pause and touch the translator collar around her neck, which seemed to help her understand Earth languages better. Despite her strange appearance and technology, Thesia was polite and quiet. She rarely spoke to anyone. But Eli, who made a point to wave whenever he saw her. One afternoon, Eli decided to introduce himself properly. He baked some cookies, his grandmother's recipe, and took them over to Thesia's door. When she opened it, Eli could see the inside of the house was very clean and organized, with shiny surfaces and soft glowing panels on the walls. Thesia accepted the plate of cookies with a small smile. "Thank you, Eli. This is a very human gesture." Eli laughed softly. "Yeah, we like to share food when we meet new people. It's a way to say, 'Welcome.'" Thesia looked thoughtful. "On my home planet, welcoming someone involves ceremonies and formal words. Your way is simpler." Eli nodded. "Maybe, but it works." For the first time, Thesia seemed to relax. "I would like to learn more about your customs." "Anytime," Eli said, stepping back toward his house. "If you want to borrow a lawnmower or just need someone to talk to, I'm here." Thesia nodded again. "I appreciate your offer." That evening, Eli sat on his porch looking at the stars. He wondered what Thesia's world was like. Did she miss it? Was she afraid to be so far from home? The next morning, Eli was up early. When he heard a strange noise coming from Thesia's garage, it sounded like soft buzzing mixed with chirping. Curious, he peeked over the fence and saw small drones flying in and out, some carrying tiny tools and parts. Suddenly, one of the drones lost control and crashed through a window, landing in Eli's yard with a quiet beep. Eli picked it up carefully and walked to Thesia's door. When she opened it, her eyes went wide. "My drone. Thank you for returning it." "No problem," Eli said. "It's a neat little machine." Thesia nodded. "Yes, it helps me with repairs and data collection." Eli looked at the small device in his hands. "Mind if I take a closer look?" Thesia hesitated but then stepped aside. "Be careful, it is delicate." Eli inspected the drone and noticed a small crack on one wing. He shrugged and pulled out some tape from his pocket. "I'm not a technician, but this might hold it together." Thesia watched closely as Eli carefully fixed the wing with tape and a bit of soda residue she didn't understand. "Humans use strange methods," she said, almost laughing. Eli grinned. "We're good at making things work, even if it's not perfect." That moment felt important to Thesia. Here was a human who didn't fear her technology or strange customs. Instead, he accepted them and helped. As days passed, Eli and Thesia shared small moments. Eli explaining Earth holidays, Thesia showing holograms of her home planet's forests and cities. They laughed when they both tried to pronounce each other's names. Though different, a friendship was growing. Eli never imagined his quiet street would be the place where the universe would feel a little smaller and a little more hopeful. The sun was setting behind the tall trees, and the neighborhood was growing quiet. Most people were finishing their dinners or relaxing inside their homes. But next door, Thessia's house was alive with strange sounds and glowing lights. Eli sat on his porch, sipping a cup of tea. He had noticed that Thessia kept odd hours. Sometimes she was awake late into the night, and other times she seemed to rest during the day. It was very different from his own routine. Curious, Eli decided to take a short walk around the yard to see what Thessia was up to. As he got closer to her garage, he heard a low buzzing mixed with high-pitched chirps and soft mechanical whirs. Peeking around the corner, Eli saw small flying machines, drones, buzzing around inside. They moved quickly and with great purpose. Some were carrying tiny tools, others were scanning the walls and floors. The drones had a soft blue glow that lit up the garage in an otherworldly way. Eli blinked. "That's some serious technology," he whispered to himself. Suddenly, one of the drones faltered. It flew too fast, hit a wall, and crashed through the garage window. The glass shattered into pieces, and the drone fell into Eli's backyard, with a faint beep. Eli hurried to pick it up before it broke further. The drone's small lights blinked weakly. At that moment, Thessia appeared at the garage door. Her eyes widened in surprise and concern. "My drone, you found it. Thank you." "It looks like it took a hard hit," Eli said gently, holding the tiny machine. Thessia nodded quickly. "It is important for my work here. I am sorry it caused damage." Eli smiled reassuringly. "Don't worry about the window. These things happen." Thessia looked around nervously and then stepped outside, still holding her translator collar. "Would you help me repair it?" she asked quietly. Eli grinned. "Sure, I'm no expert, but I'm good with fixing things." Together they went into Thessia's garage, which was filled with strange devices, glowing panels and tools Eli had never seen before. Thessia handed him a small toolkit that hummed softly. Eli examined the drone closely. The wing was cracked, and some wires were loose. He carefully took out a roll of tape from his pocket and stuck the wing together. Thessia watched every move, her eyes bright with curiosity. "You use tape?" she asked, confused. Eli chuckled. "Yeah, sometimes tape and a little bit of soda can fix things when you don't have the right parts." Thessia looked surprised, but amused. "Humans have, unusual methods." Eli smiled. "We like to make things work even if it's not perfect." The drone's lights flickered back on and it beeped happily. Thessia clapped her hands softly. "You saved it." "Thank you, Eli." Eli shrugged. "It was fun. Hey, maybe next time you can show me how your tech really works." Thessia smiled, for the first time since moving in. "I would like that." The days that followed were full of little surprises. Thessia's routines were strange but fascinating. She would rise at odd hours and sometimes work outside under the moonlight, adjusting her drones and studying the stars. One night, Eli saw her standing in her backyard, holding a small device that projected a hologram of planets and stars. Thessia was speaking softly to herself in a language Eli could not understand. Eli waved from his porch. Thessia smiled and waved back, then returned to her work. Despite her odd hours and strange habits, Thessia never seemed lonely. Eli thought maybe she was used to living alone or far from her home planet, but he wanted to help her feel welcome. So one afternoon, Eli invited Thessia over for a barbecue. He set up a small grill in his backyard and cooked some burgers and hot dogs. When Thessia arrived, she wore a simple dress that shimmered in the sunlight, and her eyes sparkled with curiosity. Eli handed her a plate. "Try this, it's a classic Earth meal." Thessia hesitated, then took a small bite. Her eyes widened in surprise. "Delicious, the flavors are complex and pleasing." Eli laughed. "Yeah, Earth food is pretty good. We like to eat together and share stories." Thessia looked thoughtful. "On my planet, meals are more functional. Food is eaten for energy and nutrition, not taste." Eli smiled. "Well, maybe you'll like Earth better." After dinner, Thesia showed Eli a hologram of her home planet. It was a place of tall, crystal trees, glowing rivers, and purple skies. Eli was amazed by the beauty and wished he could visit someday. In return, Eli told Thesia stories about Earth, about festivals, sports, and music. Thesia laughed at the idea of humans singing and dancing for fun. "You humans are strange, but I think I like it," she said softly. One evening, as Eli walked home from work, he noticed something unusual. Thesia's house was dark except for a faint blue glow from the garage. He heard soft music playing, a melody that felt both sad and hopeful. He stopped to listen and saw Thesia sitting by her workbench, staring at a small floating crystal that pulsed with light. Eli cleared his throat. "That's a beautiful song." Thesia looked up, surprised to see him. "It is a memory crystal. It plays songs from my home planet. Sometimes it helps me feel less alone." Eli nodded. "I get that. Sometimes I play my guitar when I'm feeling lonely." Thesia smiled. "Maybe one day you can teach me." Eli grinned. "Deal." As the night grew darker, Eli felt a warmth in his chest. He was glad that Sia was his neighbor. Even if she was from a different world, they were beginning to understand each other. It was a bright, warm morning in the neighborhood. The sun shone through the leaves of the trees, casting soft shadows on the pavement. Birds chirped happily and the smell of fresh grass filled the air. For Eli Granger, it was just another peaceful day. Eli had just finished his morning jog and was heading back to his house. The day was already getting warm, so he decided to stay cool by wearing only his shorts as he walked through the yard toward the mailbox. At that moment, Thesia stepped outside her house. She was adjusting a small device on her wrist, concentrating on the readings it showed. She wasn't expecting anyone, especially not Eli. But then she saw him, walking confidently, shirtless, without any hesitation. For Thesia, this sight was shocking. On her home planet, showing so much skin was a serious and unusual gesture. It was something reserved only for moments of great trust or important ceremonies. To see Eli standing so casually, with his chest and arms bare, felt like a strong statement, one she did not fully understand. Her translator collar suddenly blinked red and made a quiet alarm. Thesia froze. Her eyes widened and the soft glow of her skin seemed to pulse faster. The air around her felt tense. Eli noticed her sudden change in expression. He stopped in his tracks and smiled awkwardly. "Hey, Thesia. Good morning." Thesia blinked several times, then quickly covered her chest with her cloak, even though she was still standing outside. "Eli, you are unprotected." Her voice was filled with surprise and confusion. Eli laughed lightly. "Yeah, it's just shorts. It's hot out, no big deal." Thesia shook her head slowly. "For my people, this is a serious matter. You show vulnerability without warning." Eli frowned, trying to understand. "Vulnerability? I'm not trying to be vulnerable. It's just how we dress sometimes. It's normal here." Thesia's face was serious. "On my planet, this gesture means trust or challenge. I am unsure what it means here." Eli thought for a moment, then grinned. "It just means I'm comfortable and enjoying the sun." Thesia blinked, still unsure. "I see. Your customs are very different." Just then, Eli's dog, Max, ran out from the yard, barking happily. Max jumped around Eli's legs and barked toward Thesia. Thesia took a small step back, startled. By the noise, Eli knelt to calm Max. "Don't worry, Thesia, Max is friendly." Thesia smiled weakly but still looked uneasy. "Thank you. Your pet is energetic." Eli stood up and tried to lighten the mood. "Hey, I didn't mean to shock you. I didn't know my shorts would cause such a reaction." Thesia laughed softly. "It is not your fault. I must learn more about Earth's customs." Eli nodded. "And I'll learn more about yours. We're neighbors, after all." For a moment they stood silently, watching the warm morning sun. Then Eli spoke again. "Want to come over for some breakfast? I'm making pancakes." Thesia looked at him, surprised. "Pancakes? What are those?" Eli smiled. They're a type of food, sweet, soft, and delicious. Thessia hesitated, but then nodded. I would like to try. Together they walked toward Eli's house. Thessia moved carefully, still thinking about what she had seen and felt. Inside Eli's kitchen, the smell of cooking filled the room. Eli flipped pancakes on the stove, humming a tune. Thessia watched with interest, her eyes wide as she saw the simple process. When the pancakes were ready, Eli served them with syrup and fresh fruit. Thessia took a small bite and smiled. This is wonderful. The flavors are warm and comforting. Eli grinned. Glad you like it. Food can bring people together. They ate quietly for a while. Then Thessia spoke. Eli, I want to understand more about your customs. Why do you wear so little when it is warm? Eli thought for a moment. Well, on Earth, people dress for comfort and climate. When it's hot, we wear less to stay cool. It's nothing more than that. Thessia nodded slowly. On my planet, clothes are a form of protection and respect. Showing skin is rare and important. Eli smiled. Different worlds, different ways. But I think we can learn from each other. Suddenly a soft beep came from Thessia's translator collar. She looked at it and frowned. I must return to my house. There is a message from my people. Eli nodded. I'll see you later, Thessia. As Thessia left, Eli thought about the strange morning. He never imagined something as simple as his clothes, or lack of them, could cause so much confusion. But that was the thing about living next to an alien. Every day was a new lesson, a new surprise. And Eli was ready to learn. After the strange morning incident, both Eli and Thessia realized that there was much to learn about each other's worlds. The next day, Eli decided to invite Thessia over for tea. He thought it would be a good chance to talk and clear up the confusion between their customs. Eli prepared the small table on his porch with a teapot, 2 cups, and some snacks. When Thessia arrived, she was carrying a small device that projected colorful holograms in the air. Thank you for inviting me, Eli, Thessia said, her voice calm but warm. Eli smiled. Of course. We neighbors should get to know each other better. They sat down and Eli poured the tea. Thessia carefully took a sip, then nodded approvingly. I want to understand your customs better, Thessia said. Your clothes, your manners, your way of living. Eli laughed softly. It's not that complicated. We dress for comfort, like I told you. And we're usually friendly and open. Thessia's eyes glimmered. Your openness is unusual too? Me. On my planet, we have formal ceremonies and strict rules for meeting someone new. Greetings are important, and showing trust is a serious matter. Eli leaned back. Sounds like your people really value respect. We do, Thessia said. But sometimes it can make things tense. Eli nodded thoughtfully. I think humans are different. We don't like rules too much. We like to laugh, joke, and be relaxed. Thessia smiled. Your laughter is infectious. I find it refreshing. Curious, Thessia activated her hologram device. A series of images appeared, showing her home planet's landscapes, their cities, and people in formal clothing, standing in perfect lines during ceremonies. Eli was amazed. That looks beautiful, but it seems strict. Thessia nodded. It is. Every action has meaning. If you make a mistake, it can offend someone deeply. Eli chuckled. Here, if you make a mistake, people usually just laugh it off. Thessia looked surprised. Really? Even serious mistakes? Yes. We believe everyone is human. Everyone makes mistakes. It's part of life. Eli smiled. Sometimes laughter is the best way to handle things. Thessia's eyes sparkled. I would like to learn to laugh more. Eli grinned. I'll help you with that. They spent the afternoon exchanging stories. Eli told Thessia about Earth holidays, like Halloween, where people dress up in funny costumes, and Thanksgiving, where families share big meals and say what they are thankful for. Thessia listened closely, fascinated by the idea of celebrating with laughter and food. In my culture, she said, we have a holiday for honoring ancestors. It is very serious and respectful. Eli nodded. Different but important. It sounds like your people care a lot about family and history. Yes, Thesia said softly. Family is sacred. The conversation turned to language. Thesia's caller helped her translate, but she still struggled with some Earth expressions. Why do you say break a leg when you want someone good luck? Thesia asked, confused. Eli laughed. It's just a silly phrase. It means good luck. But sounds strange, Thesia smiled. Humans speak in riddles. Eli grinned. Sometimes, yeah. It keeps things interesting. As the sun began to set, Thesia showed Eli a small device, a memory crystal. She explained it stored songs and stories from her planet. Eli asked if she would play something, and Thesia activated the crystal. Soft, beautiful music filled the air, unlike anything Eli had heard before. It is a song of hope and home, Thesia said. It reminds me of where I come from. Eli closed his eyes, letting the music wash over him. He understood that even across the stars, feelings of hope and belonging were the same. After the music ended, Thesia looked at Eli. I feel I understand Earth better now. Your customs may be simple, but they carry great meaning. Eli smiled. Same here. I never thought I'd learn so much from my alien neighbor. Thesia laughed lightly. Perhaps we can teach each other. Eli nodded. Deal. Before Thesia left, she looked back at Eli's porch. Thank you, Eli. Today was a good cultural download. Eli chuckled. Glad you liked it. As Thesia walked back to her house, Eli felt a warmth in his heart. The world suddenly seemed bigger and smaller at the same time, full of mystery but also connection. He looked up at the stars and whispered, Here's to new friends, no matter what planet they're from. A sudden power surge swept through the neighborhood one afternoon. Lights flickered and some small appliances stopped working. The peaceful street was suddenly filled with the sound of buzzing electronics and confused neighbors trying to figure out what was going wrong. Eli was in his backyard when the lights went out. He looked up and noticed a strange glow coming from Thesia's house. The soft blue lights from her drones and devices seemed to pulse faster than usual. Curious and a bit concerned, Eli walked over to Thesia's front yard. Thesia was outside, looking worried as she checked the readings on her wrist device. My equipment is causing interference, she said quickly. I am sorry. It was not my intention. Eli smiled reassuringly. Don't worry. These things happen. Let's see if we can fix it together. Thesia nodded, grateful for his help. Eli called out to his neighbors, explaining the situation as best as he could. Soon a few people gathered with tools, flashlights, and hopeful smiles. They were ready to help. Let's turn this into a neighborhood project, Eli said. We fix the power, and maybe have a little barbecue while we're at it. The neighbors laughed and agreed. Thesia watched, surprised by how humans solved problems with teamwork and a positive attitude. The group moved to Thesia's house first. Eli explained, Her tech is advanced, but it's reacting oddly with our power grid. Thesia nodded. My devices are designed for my planet's energy system. Earth's power is different. Eli looked at the main power box outside Thesia's house. It was humming softly, lights blinking in odd patterns. Okay, team, Eli said. Let's try to reset this breaker and see if that helps. Some neighbors worked on the power box while others checked inside Thesia's garage, where her drones and machines waited silently. Thesia handed Eli a small tool that looked like a glowing wand. This may help stabilize the energy flow. Eli took it, examining the strange device. Thanks. I'll give it a try. As Eli waved the tool near the power box, the humming slowed, and the lights began to return. The neighbors cheered. That's great, Eli said, smiling wide. Thesia smiled softly. Your people are very good at working together. Eli laughed. Yeah, we humans like to fix things, especially when it means helping each other. The neighbors soon gathered around a barbecue Eli had set up in his yard. The smell of grilled food filled the air. Thesia observed quietly but seemed interested. Would you like to try some? Eli asked, offering her a plate. Thesia nodded. Yes, please. She took a small bite of a grilled vegetable and smiled. Delicious. The taste is strong and pleasant, Eli smiled. Earth food is one way we bring people together. Sharing a meal makes problems feel smaller. Thessia looked around at the laughing neighbors and friendly faces. Your way of solving problems is communal and joyful. Very different from my people. Eli nodded. Sometimes the best solutions come from working together and enjoying the moment. After the meal, Thessia shared a story about how her people handled conflicts. We have councils and strict rules. Decisions are made slowly with much discussion. Eli raised an eyebrow. Sounds serious. It is, Thessia admitted. But sometimes it takes too long and problems grow bigger. Eli smiled. Humans sometimes act fast, maybe too fast. But our strength is in coming together and trying. Thessia looked thoughtful. Maybe your way has value. Your communal irrationality, as I call it, leads to surprising success. Eli laughed. I like that. Communal irrationality. Fits us pretty well. As the evening grew darker, the neighborhood felt closer than ever. Thessia was no longer just an alien neighbor. She was part of the community. Before Thessia left, she looked at Eli and said, "Thank you, Eli. Today I learned much about humans and friendship." Eli smiled warmly. "Glad to help. You're welcome anytime." As Thessia walked back to her house, Eli felt a sense of pride. Despite their differences, humans and aliens could come together and solve problems with kindness and laughter. He looked up at the stars and thought, maybe this is just the beginning. It was a quiet morning when the sky suddenly darkened. A sleek silver ship descended silently into the open field near Eli's neighborhood. Its smooth surface reflected the sunlight, and a soft hum filled the air. Eli was outside, watering his garden, when he noticed the ship. His heart beat faster. He had seen Thessia's technology before, but this was something new, something official. The ship's doors opened with a smooth hiss, and a group of tall, serious-looking aliens stepped out. They wore uniforms with sharp lines and badges that glowed faintly. These were no ordinary visitors. They were envoys sent by Thessia's people. Eli wiped his hands on his pants and watched as Thessia stepped outside to meet them. She looked calm but focused. The envoys greeted Thessia with formal bows and quiet words. Then one of them turned to Eli. "You are the human neighbor?" The lead envoy asked, his voice clear but distant. Eli nodded. "Yes, that's me." The envoy studied Eli for a moment, then gestured for him to join their meeting inside Thessia's house. Inside the living room, the air was tense. The envoys asked Thessia questions about her time on Earth, how she had adapted, what she had learned, and whether she had caused any problems. Thessia answered honestly and calmly. She spoke of Eli's kindness, the neighborhood's hospitality, and her own efforts to understand human culture. Then the lead envoy turned to Eli. "You have become part of her experience. What do you think of Thessia's presence here?" Eli smiled. "She's a good neighbor. She's curious, kind, and willing to learn. I think having her here has made our neighborhood more interesting and better." The envoy raised an eyebrow. "Interesting is an unusual word for us. We seek efficiency and order." Eli shrugged. "Well, humans like a bit of chaos. It helps us grow." At that moment, Eli felt the need to lighten the mood. He stood up and said, "I hope you don't mind, but I didn't expect to come to this meeting dressed like this." He was wearing shorts and a t-shirt. The envoys looked at him carefully. Some seemed puzzled. One of them whispered something to Thessia, who covered her mouth to hide a smile. Eli laughed. "Guess I'm just too casual for you all." The lead envoy's face softened. "Your informality is unusual, yet it is clear you are sincere." The conversation turned to plans for Thessia's future on Earth. The envoys were concerned that she might be too influenced by human culture, too native, as they called it. But Eli spoke up firmly. "Thessia has learned a lot, but she's still herself. She's made friends, helped solve problems, and brought us new ideas. She's not lost. She's growing." The envoys listened carefully. After a moment, the lead envoy nodded slowly. Perhaps there is value in your communal irrationality. We will consider our options. Thessia looked relieved. Thank you for your understanding. Eli smiled. Whatever happens, I hope you'll let her stay and keep learning with us. The meeting ended with polite goodbyes. The envoys returned to their ship, which rose silently into the sky and disappeared among the clouds. Eli and Thessia stood outside, watching the empty field. That was intense, Eli said, shaking his head. Thessia nodded. It was. But your presence helped more than you know. Eli grinned. I guess I'm a good ambassador after all. Thessia laughed softly. You are, Eli. You represent humanity well. As the sun set, Eli felt a new respect for Thessia and her people. He understood that being different did not mean being separate. Their worlds could meet, learn, and grow together. He looked at Thessia and said, No matter what, you're not just my neighbor, you're my friend. Thessia smiled warmly. And you are mine. The days after the council's visit felt different. Thessia seemed more relaxed but thoughtful. Eli noticed that she spent more time outside, enjoying Earth's warm sunlight and fresh air. One afternoon, Eli found Thessia sitting on her porch looking at a small cup of coffee. She held it carefully, her eyes wide as she took a small sip. Coffee is bitter, Thessia said softly. But interesting. Eli smiled. Yeah, it takes some getting used to. But once you do, it's like a little boost for the day. Thessia nodded slowly. I think I like it. As they sat together, Eli asked, So what did the council say? Are they letting you stay? Thessia sighed but smiled. They have given me a choice. Return to my home planet or stay here as Earth's first official liaison. Eli's eyes widened. A liaison? That sounds important. It is, Thessia explained. It means I would represent my people here and help build relations between our worlds. Eli felt proud but also a little nervous. That's a big responsibility. Thessia looked at him seriously. Yes. But I have learned much from you. And your neighbors, I believe I am ready. Eli grinned. I always knew you'd do great. Thessia smiled warmly. Thank you. You, Eli. Your friendship made this possible. That evening, Thessia invited Eli to her home. Inside, the house felt different. Less formal, more like a home. She wore simple clothes, like those Eli had shown her. The glowing panels on the walls were softer, and the drones rested quietly. They sat by a window watching the stars. Eli, Thessia said, I have a confession. What's that? Eli asked, curious. I was afraid at first, afraid of being so different and far from home, afraid I would never fit in. Eli nodded. I get that. It's not easy being different. But, Thessia continued, your kindness, your laughter, and your patience changed me. I see now that being different is not a weakness. It is a strength. Eli smiled. That's the spirit. Thessia reached into her pocket and took out a small crystal. It glowed softly. This is a gift from my people, she said. It holds memories and hopes for the future. She handed it to Eli. I want you to have it as a symbol of our friendship. Eli accepted the crystal, feeling its gentle warmth. Thank you, Thessia. I'll treasure it. From that day on, Thessia became more than just a neighbor. She was a bridge between worlds. She helped the community understand alien technology, and humans shared their culture with her. The neighborhood became a place of learning, friendship, and hope. One morning, Eli found Thessia outside, trying Earth's new clothes and sipping her second cup of coffee. She laughed as she stumbled over a joke he told. Eli said, See, you're becoming one of us. Thessia smiled brightly. Maybe I am. As the sun rose, shining on the quiet street, Eli and Thessia stood side by side, looking toward the future. No longer alien to each other, they were friends, and together, they knew humanity's true strength, the power to connect, to learn, and to welcome the unknown.